what a great song. Il cuore è un zingaro by a man who carries the name of the voice of romance, Alfredo Malabello. That song released in May 2010. And right now, listeners, I've got Alfredo on the phone from Melbourne. Good morning, Alfredo. How are you?
Good morning, Gilly. Good morning, everybody.
Actually, I think it's
How am I? I'm tired.
You're fine. It's afternoon for you, isn't it? It's about 12:15.
Yeah, something like that,
yeah. Now, Alfredo, just before I ask you how your love of music came about, I just want to say the song I just played by you, sung by you, Il cuore è un zingaro, written by one of my favourite Italian singer-songwriters, Nicola Di Bari, was from your first album, Ciao Bella, released in May 2010. It's a fabulous album, and you once said that all the songs on Ciao Bella meant a lot to you, or mean a lot to you. Can you tell us how the album came about, its achievements, and why does it mean so much to you?
Because all the Italian, like, there's 50% Italian songs and 50% English songs. So the Italian songs are songs that I heard growing up at home, you know, with mum and dad, and my aunties and uncles in Italy. They would send you, you know, a disc, a 7-inch, you know, vinyl record and albums that came out. That's how you got to find out what was happening in Italy. Because we weren't receiving Italian broadcasts and all that sort of stuff. There was no internet, etc. So this music, these rare items that were coming over from Italy every 4 or 5 months were really very, very special to me. So I would, any spare chance I had, I would sit around the record player and listen to these songs. So I thought these songs, you know, are the ones that I got to know, so I put them on the album, and it worked out well.
Fantastic. You're listening to Coast Connections on Adelaide Coast FM, and I'm talking with the voice of romance, Alfredo Malabello. Now you said you're the son of Italian parents who met each other here in Australia, I think.
In Adelaide,
in Adelaide, and you were born in Adelaide, weighing in at, correct me if I'm wrong, 12 pounds. That's one big baby. Can you tell the listeners about your early years growing up in Adelaide, just quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I was born and raised in Norwood. I was born at Queen Adelaide Hospital, and I started going to school in Norwood, and then went to Norwood High and Ross Trevor College, etc. But our family was quite extended. You know, we had aunties, uncles, cousins, godparents, you know, first cousins, second cousins. So back then, you know, we would constantly go and meet at houses. You know, everybody would go visit each other. So my godfather, Emilio, who was my confirmation godfather, he loved the accordion, and I started playing the accordion, and I would learn 3 or 4 pieces each week, and I would perform them for him, you know. And this started right from the age of 9 years of age. So I got used to preparing for live performances, even unbeknownst to me of, you know, where it was heading. But you know, I was quite comfortable in front of people by that time. I have a brother, Joe, who played guitar with me, and we would do a lot of council shows and senior citizens clubs and senior citizens homes, and perform for them. And, you know, we got a taste for it. And then we got a drummer, Romeo Marincelli, and we formed the band Young Harmony, and we started doing weddings and restaurants and, you know, all around Adelaide.
Amazing.
And then, you know, we thought, you know, that's right. And then I had to find something cooler to play instead of the accordion, so I started playing the piano. Yeah, but now the accordion's cooler than the piano now.
It is. Now, Alfredo, you are a very successful artist these days, very successful. But you had it tough, didn't you, back in those 3 years when you lived in New York? Can you tell us a little bit more about your life in America back then?
Yeah, well, what was happening is that I was married at that time. I had I have two sons, and their mother and I were together. You know, we're not together anymore, but and we thought we'd go over to New York and try to make a go of something in the music industry. And the mother of my children, you know, all credit to her, you know, she had a very adventurous spirit. So it sort of worked out. But we went to New York and based ourselves in Manhattan, up in the top end, like 181st Street, the uptown, not downtown. Uptown is not as expensive as downtown. But anyway, so we lived up in a residential block over there, and my eldest was about 5 years old, and my youngest was about 3 years old. But in that time, to establish oneself in New York, it was quite difficult because we didn't have any. We had traveler's insurance, but you know we needed more. So trying to get established and look for doctors was very expensive and very difficult. And getting gigs, you know, getting shows to perform was hard too because I didn't have a work permit. But I met someone who put me onto someone and then organised for a work permit, which happened quite easily. Mind you, this is before 9/11 in New York.
Yeah.
Now it's really, really difficult to get a work permit. But before, it was okay. And so I did that. So I started performing in bars and clubs all over Manhattan, and it was an eye-opener, that's for sure. You know, anything from downtown and some of the ritziest restaurants to some of the most, you know, I guess mum-and-pop restaurants in the Bronx, and to the real perilous gigs in Hell's Kitchen in the Irish sector between Central Park and the Hudson River.
Wow.
And wow, it was crazy. And but during that time, we were, you know, my youngest son wasn't speaking properly and wasn't paying attention, and we were concerned for him. Cut a long story short, we took him for a diagnosis. He was diagnosed, you know, quite autistic, and which put a spanner in the works, you know. So I needed to come up with something quite intensively, you know, to sort of cover all the medical bills and doctors and everything, you know, especially because we weren't American citizens. And to do that, it's very expensive. You have to buy insurance in America. It's very expensive if you don't, because you either work for an employer who supplies insurance, or you do it yourself.
It's crazy.
Anyway, so I was looking in the paper, and there was a job opened up in New York University, teaching digital and analog recording techniques. Is to do with, you know, recording of music and mixing and equalizing, and this is the early days of MIDI and programming and all that sort of stuff. So I knew how to do it, but I've never taught anything in my life. I mean, I didn't teach anything like this, but I knew how to do it. And so I basically applied for the job and lied through my teeth.
Right.
You know, I faked this, I faked this later. I had to because I needed insurance, medical insurance for my family, especially that my young son had just been diagnosed autistic. And anyway, so I did that, and I taught at New York Uni for just over a year. And
that's amazing.
And over there, the students grade the teachers, just like the teachers grade the students, and the students grade the teachers. And it's really funny, you know, because I got one of the highest ratings as a teacher, you know, at the university from the students. So,
well, I just want to mention. We haven't got much time. We've got about four and a half minutes. But I just want to mention that you were in a band, and you eventually broke up in I think in the early '80s, and then in 1984 you drove to Melbourne in a Holden panel van.
That's right.
And of course, life was much better. But what I want to ask you is, you won Best Actor in 2 Australian film festivals. You starred in Underbelly and another role as the Italian father in Carla Cameti PD. And then something extraordinary happened when Universal Music heard you sing. Can you tell us about that, please?
Yes. Well, I did a lot of acting workshops and did a lot of short films, which got me an award. At one particular film festival, the producers of Underbelly and Carla Comedy were one of the judges, and they saw me and they got me to audition for the roles, which I got. But one of the roles in Carla Comedy, where I played the father of Carla Comedy, I played Leo Comedy. I ran a restaurant called Comedy's Restaurant. In the restaurant, in the kitchen, I would sing. I would sing in Italian, I would sing songs, I would, this and that. And that was just part of the role. That was it. I wasn't thinking about anything other than doing the role that was expected of me and all that. But what happened is that when the TV series went to air, SBS started getting, like fan mail or, Facebook comments and phone calls. Who's that singer? Who's that singer? Who's that singer? Anyway, they spoke to me about it, and I got busy and started to prepare the foundations of an album. And then Universal Music was approached by SBS because they were setting up a new alliance. SBS as the shop front, and Universal Music as the distribution arm. Anyway, I just happened to be the first artist to be released on that new, that new marriage of SBS and Universal Music, and it worked out well. And they actually signed me up on my 50th birthday. They flew me to Sydney.
Incredible.
And they didn't know it was my birthday, but,
No.
On the 11th of December, and they said blah, 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 and
That's
it was amazing. My life started again at the age of 50.
There's so many questions I want to ask you, but we've run out of time. But I want to ask you just one more. You've told people, Alfred, over the years that the entertainment business, your life, it was your life, and it in a very poetic, romantic way, it ruined your life. Has the struggle that you've had over the years been worth it? Obviously, it has.
I'd say, well, how does one answer that sort of question? All I can say is that as much as it's been my ruination, it's also been my salvation.
Yeah.
As far as giving me the ability to fly spiritually and emotionally and soulfully. As far as relationships, a devoted career, devoted to your career, a musical career, is dangerous. It's not healthy for relationships. You're away. You're performing at night. You're on tour. You're on set.
Yep.
It's not the healthy foundations of relationship. But many people have done it. Many people fail, and many people succeed.
Yeah.
But yes, I don't have any regrets.
Well,
I don't have any regrets.
Fred, I'm going to speak to you next time. We're going to do this part 2 and maybe even part 3 because your life is amazing. But look, thank you so much for your time.
Well,
You've had you've had, and you still are having a wonderful career. It's been a pleasure having you on Adelaide's Coast FM. Good luck for the future. And on the phone the other night, when we talked together, you perform in Carlton in a piano bar, don't you? And it's very busy every night.
Yes, I got into a business partnership with the owner of the building, and I run the venue, and I've turned it into a piano bar as of the 1st of February this year.
Gee.
And it's going well.
Where do you get your energy from, and how long?
I don't know.
And you've been there for 2-3 years now, haven't you, or a long time?
No. What, here in Melbourne?
No, in the at that piano bar, performing there.
No, I've been at the piano bar. We launched on February 1st this year.
Right. Okay.
So how many months is that? That's like 8 months.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you. And I've got 2 minutes. What's that? Go.
No, thank you.
Oh, that's all right. I'm just going to finish off. I'm going to play "Could You Ever Love Me Again."
Yeah.
And just we won't play all of it, but just to give people a little taste that you can sing English as well.
Yeah.
And I'll catch you again. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gilly. Thank you, everybody.
See you later. Thank you.